This is Houston. Say again, please.
Houston, we've had a problem. We've had a main B plus undervolt.
Roger, main B undervolt. Okay, stand by at 13. We're looking.
We just have one more picture for today to show and share with you and hear Martine and Rami's thoughts on, and it's a picture that I've chosen from Sol 107, and I'm just gonna find the picture here and share my screen with you. This is the image. This is one of my absolute favorite images, because we're not gonna look at this red ring yet. We're gonna look at this object that I painted red here, because to me, and I am saying to me, this looks like a giant reptile skull of a kind. You see the left eye here, and you see an identical structure on the other side where the right eye should be, and you have something like a mouth here and a nose here, and if you follow this line here, skull here, what would appear to be the neck, and you see some sand here, but I think that either way the rest of it is buried or it's been taken for other purpose, somehow removed, but you can actually draw a line here to some more of the bones that are laying here, and then further on, and then we go up here and make 180-degree turn down here to this rib cage object here. This one over here that we are looking at now is actually the famous rib cage that has been going viral when Sol 107 came out a long time ago. It has been up many times, but when I saw this picture up, nobody noticed at all the structure in front of it and around of it. And in the red circle that I left before, you see something that looks like I don't normally study or do what we call small beings, but we see what looks like two beings, a larger one and a smaller one, and the smaller one is actually holding around the larger one, and both are looking at their left side. Behind those two small objects here that looks like beings, we have what seems to be a cave entrance of some kind. If you follow my arrow here, you can see that it is built with a half-round doorway up here in a way where the construction is supporting itself with its own weight in the way it's built, as we know it actually from today also. When you build a half-round doorway, it's kind of amazing to sit and look and watch this. But right behind it here, we have this structure that to me looks like some kind of concrete with armor inside, armored concrete. I used to work at a concrete factory when I was younger, and that's why this was the first thing that came to mind. That was some huge sides concrete plates as you use to cover the roof, to become the roof of a housing or construction in some way. If you look over here, there is some round construction with some holes in here. It's an awesome one, it's a great one. I really like this one, but what is it for? I don't know. But if you go down here, you see this object here. If you follow my arrow, you will see the edges of this object is actually round also. But what is this object? It looks like something from a sci-fi movie. As any of you have seen Independence Day and seen this UFO that they actually are flying up to the mothership with, you see this giant hook on top of it as it can hang on when it's inside the mothership. It reminds me of that hook from the movie Independence Day. Not saying it is, but I'm telling you what it reminds me of. This is a round object here, and there is a lower entrance, and there is a hole here of some kind. If you look at the size of the hole underneath it here, then it looks just like those two beings have the right size to fit inside this object. And the same with this doorway here. It looks like it was created for someone at the size of those two beings over here. This is an amazing object, and there are lots of anomalies in it, and I am looking forward to hear what Martine and Rami have of thoughts on this one. Martine, will you start?
Well, I come to your two little figures straight away. Yes, they're quite clear. It does look as if it might be a parent figure with a child actually looking again at it now, and they seem to be embracing each other and looking over the, I think the large one is looking over his shoulder towards, well, this direction. You're right about the entrance size. There's several entrances that are evident within the area. They all look like they go underground as well. That straight line with it looks to me like metal girders that have become encrusted with minerals, but the sort of girders that you see in construction. I know you said concrete, and I was thinking of the metal girders that you see in buildings. Looking around it, I'm looking at the top of the image that we're familiar with, and that most people have described as having seen bones or ribs inside a carcass. It also looks to me like the head of a sort of dinosaur type creature, or a large lizard type creature, with we're looking into its mouth and seeing a row of teeth. That's another way I'm looking at it as well. But as you follow the shape around, I can see quite clearly what you mean by the one in the foreground now, that they do look like the high bone shape you get over the eye sockets, like you see with an alligator or a crocodile.
Exactly.
And the face is, the nose comes towards us, and then you follow the bones around. Whether it continues on round, or whether there are two of these types of creatures, I don't know. The one thing that does stand out is that what is bone and calcified and discoloured over because of the age of it is definitely different than the rest of the landscape. It's certainly not the same coloration as the rocks around. It very much looked like bone. I'm quite familiar with what old bones look like, because my daughter did forensics at one stage, and they look very much the same colour. And then to the left of that shape at the top, where we see this sort of the bones or the rib cage effect or teeth, there is this strange shape, a curved shape. Can't quite make head or tail of that, but it doesn't look natural at all. Looks like it might be metallic. And again, to the left of that, there's a little grouping of shapes there, which to me look like heavy metal pieces, something part of machinery. And then I'm coming around to the left. Again, there's some very odd shapes going on there. And a lot of this looks like it's been excavated rather than having fallen in naturally. I am also seeing what looks like maybe a few more little figures apart from those two that we're looking at. What they are, whether they're humanoid, whether they're little statues, whatever, they tend to jump out at me now these days. I think it's my curse. But they're there, and anyway, we'll move on from that. But I mean, the whole picture shows so many different kinds of anomalies within it. it's certainly one of the most fascinating pictures I've seen.
I would like to add that the two beings in the red ring here maybe be something between 10 to 20 centimeters in height.
Right.
So this is a small beings. I don't like saying the word. I was like, no, you did not say that, Thomas. But if it is beings that we are looking at, then it's small beings. Yes.
Okay. Exactly.
So, have you more you want to add, Martina?
No, I think I've summed it up.
No.
No, it's a great picture. Well done, Thomas. It's fantastic.
Thank you. Rami, what's your thought on this?
Okay, I'm very impressed with this image, and to me it shows signs of life on Mars. For sure in the past, I don't know about the present, but what I see in this image is very clearly non-rock formations. We have the one that has the one in the center that has that thing with look like ribs.
The rib cage.
This part is amazing, and it's definitely not a casual rock.
No.
This is the skin of it. The whole thing looks hollow, and then whatever them bright stripes in there, they are in order, and this is not a rock for sure.
No.
I can't see anyone that is thinking this is a rock. This is the light and shade of this clearly shows that this is not a rock, but something else. What it is, I don't know, but it's not. How when you showed the head right in the center, what you think is a head or a skull of some large type lizard or something, or dragon or something.
Reptile.
Reptile, right.
Yeah.
Then this, I never noticed this before, but now when you're saying it, that I can see it, that this is a possibility. And that this is, remains after deterioration and whatever have you happened there. So it's deteriorated, and we see some remains. That's a possibility that this is all parts of bones of some creature, or even more than one creature. Also, I can see structures, formations that look like structures, perhaps, that ruins that were destroyed or something, half buried. As you mentioned, the entrance, possible of entrance, and they have on top of them, they have some really strange.
Yes, there is some objects on top.
Strange, I don't know how to call them, but strange shapes.
Oh,
And I see
yes. Yes.
quite a bit of them around, yes?
There are. They look like they're little carvings of some sort. Little shaped carvings, aren't they, across there? Your red circle cuts through the middle of them.
To me, it looks like there is some toolboxes and some other boxes, something laying around there for use later. I don't know what it is. If I knew, I would be a very wise man, but
There's the right-hand side of your circle as well, the red circle, cutting through another odd-coloured figure of some sort, and there's another one behind it. I don't know if you can see where I mean. You see the colour of it.
yeah, it's like the half of a face.
Yeah, it could be. It could be bone. Yes, it could be the.
You're talking about this object here.
Yeah, I wonder if it's some kind of protuberance, coming from the top of the head or between the eyes and the nose at the front. But there's definitely something odd there. It's so distinctive, isn't it? The colour of what we are believing to be bone, or
You must remember that I have painted this red brownish color it has. So the bones here were a little more white. So they also got the red and brownish color also when I pointed it out with colors.
Okay, but were they still distinctive from the surrounding rocks?
Yes.
Sure.
Yes, they were.
Okay. I'm looking. There's a lot of metallic pieces around here. They do not look rock-like to me. Even with this encrustation of minerals that you get building up on everything, the metallic things are still quite distinctive from the rock.
What I'm looking at is this construction here that seems to be.
Yes, we do.
Have this round shape. If you ask a guy who has been watching too many sci-fi videos or watching too many sci-fi, say, hey, it's a little craft and this is the end, the front of it, and and the thought crossed my mind, but it's tiny. But what do we actually know of sizes on Mars, of what's normal and what's not normal? To be honestly, we don't know anything about sizes on Mars. We only know what we can see on the pictures that we have, and how can we ever get a confirmation of the real size of what we are looking at? We can't. We have to trust NASA with the data that they are giving us, and somehow or some way I don't feel comfortable by trusting NASA blindly and 100%. You know what I mean?
It's all the data we have to work from, isn't it?
It is, because you see, these two would be 10 to 20 centimeters, but how then this would be a huge animal, and it would be like having an mammoth and then having a little dog besides the mammoth. The difference of the sizes, but the differences exist also on our planet. As I just said, we could take an elephant and put a mouse beside the elephant, and then we would have the same difference in sizes as we're looking at here. But I think we need to know more about Mars and the conditions up there and what's really there before we can start stating what we are looking at.
We do tend to relate far too much to what we are familiar with on our planet, and very much forget that we're looking at a different world that has probably evolved differently according to its conditions.
Imagine if those who were on Mars, because I do believe there were someone on Mars, we have seen so much, for me, proof of civilizations on Mars, but if those that were there before their existence ended, as it looks like on the pictures from the NASA rovers, if they were way ahead of us in technology, for example, in use of material, if you can use some plastic that has the same strength as the hardest missile, for example, then those materials maybe could last 10 times longer or 100 times longer if they were left out in the desert for 100, 200, 1,000 years,
Yes.
And when people say, but if the civilization ended 11,500 years ago in a huge disaster, then there would be nothing left, because normal iron would rust away during 80 to 120 years, and then we wouldn't be able to see any trace of it after that. But what do we know about what they were using of material? materials. What do we know about their technology? We know absolutely nothing. But I do believe, and that's my personal belief, I do believe that those who were there were way ahead of us, and we are not talking 100 years, we are talking thousands of years ahead of us in technology.
Absolutely.
And that's why we can see remains of something that, according to the official book, with a catastrophe for 11,500 years ago, still would be visible on the surface and not be rusted away or demolished through with wind and air and water and stuff like that. So that's just my point of view of it. It's technology, and we don't know what kind of technology it is. We don't know about the processes they use. We don't know anything about the materials. Yes, Martina?
I was just going to say that you make a good point there. We're probably going to get good clues from what NASA is finding, you know, the actual minerals, you know, everything that is they're discovering about the makeup of the planet. Already they know that there's carbon everywhere. We know this. This is what, you know, the black streaks everywhere that we've seen. It's carbon leaching up from beneath. And the carbon it's not very far down. It comes up with the geysers. So if you've got carbon, you've got coal, you've got diamonds, you've got oil. And also there's the discovery of nitrogen, and very importantly, silicon. And silicon we use for all kinds of engineering processes. So I think even just knowing what there is on Mars and knowing that it is a rich planet with all these chemicals and minerals, it probably is a clue as to what these ancient civilizations were using for their technology. That it would not, you know, these minerals and chemicals would not have just suddenly appeared. They would always have been there.
Exactly. That was the three images for today that we have from Martina, Rami and myself. I want to thank you all for watching and staying with us for so long, and I want to say thank you to Martina, I want to say thank you to Rami, and you can always go in to any of the UFA clubs or groups on Facebook. You can go in and search for the UFAH site. We have a site on Facebook also, and from there you can find all the group and all the pictures, and I will leave a link in the YouTube video description to where you can find data links to those three images that we talked about today, and you will be able to find the three images so you can download them and or see them in a full size screen if you want to do that. Thank you for now, and until we see us again, take care. Thank you, Rami. Thank you, Martina.
Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you, DJ. Bless everybody.
Yes.
Rami. Bye.